What's up, YouTube? Doomwake here. We're back with another modern video. Last week, we actually had the big announcement, bannings. For those of you who didn't see the video I posted last week, long story short, they banned Mystic Sanctuary, Field of the Dead, Simian Spirit Guide, Tybalt's Trickery, and Uro. So we kind of have had a week of, I guess the best way to describe it is a brand new modern format. It's really, we haven't seen a big change like that in quite some time, so it was really good to play over the past couple of weeks and try and rediscover some old archetypes that maybe got thrown under the bus, thrown under the wayside with printing of Uro and how dominant that feature was in the modern format. So, again, for those of you who didn't see, I've been playing a whole bunch of Modern this week on my Twitch channel, which I'll put a link for in the description if you want to go ahead and check that out if you want some more content. Mostly Modern on the channel, but we do some fun formats from time to time. But I've been playing a ton of this new Modern format over the past week, and I have sort of been kind of getting a feel for what the format looked like before I went ahead and started making some more videos, and this is kind of where I want to start moving forward. So we're going to do I'm going to try and do like one video each day, probably during the week, and do with a different deck, try and get you a little bit more content. And this is again where I want to start with the new formats, humans, deck that's been around for quite some time, but again with the dominance of Uro, it kind of tapered off a little bit. It wasn't the best against the Uro deck, so a lot of people were not playing it as much. But yeah, humans is still great. It's a very quick, efficient deck. It's very consistent. It does what it does. On a very consistent basis. Very powerful, explosive, so go ahead and see how this goes. I'm not going to go too much in depth on the deck list, because, if you've been playing Modern for any amount over the past couple of years, I'm sure you've seen humans around before. Just some brief notes on some of the flex slots, quote-unquote. I do think Thalia is in a pretty good spot. Even though that there is a lot of Lavadar decks going around, Thalia specifically is good against Prowess and Death Shadow, because it makes them commit a little bit more mana to kill it on that turn, so it gives you a slight mana advantage that I think is pretty important, and it's also very good against the various control decks that are popping up. There was a blue-white control deck that won the Modern Challenge this past weekend, so I think playing the 4th Thalia is pretty good. The Phantasmal Image was a card that was like in and out for a little bit. People didn't like it. People didn't play it as much. It's not the best against Lightning Bolt decks, because obviously you need something in play for it to be good. But I think it's, especially if you're going to play 4 Reflector Mage, I think Phantasmal Image gets a little bit better as well. And, previously when people were playing humans during the Uro format, there wasn't as many Reflector Mages going around because there wasn't as many creature decks. But with the re-edition of the full 4 copies of Reflector Mage, I think Image gets a little bit better in that regard. We have, I say humans, it's not quite every card in the deck is a human. We do have a Skyclave Apparition in the main deck. The card is just too good not to play. I consider playing more copies in the main deck, but I think Reflector Mage being a human and slightly easier to cast, and by slightly I mean a lot easier to cast, is I want to go for Reflector Mage, and then I just wanted kind of a 5th one. And then in the matchups where it's good, you can board into additional copies. As you see, we have 2 in the sideboard. I think 4 Auriac Champion is a must right now. The card actually, I was just looking on a couple websites, and I didn't realize the card had skyrocketed in value. But it makes sense. A lot of people expected Prowess and other aggressive strategies to be at the forefront of this new format, and that's definitely the case. So I think 4 Auriac Champion is a must. We have a couple Dismembers, again, for the Prowess decks and creature matchups. We have some Maguses there are quite a few Tron decks rolling around. I've seen quite a bit, so I definitely want to play Magus. We have a Plague Engineer again with the resurgence of creature decks. Engineer used to not be playable, but I think it's pretty good right now. And then Gaddock Teeg for the various Cryptic Command Supreme Verdict decks, as well as Scape Shift and Bring to Light. It's good against all those decks. But yeah, everything else pretty straightforward. Nothing fancy. So yeah, before we continue, if you enjoy the content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And again, I'm going to post all my links to the socials in the description below, so go ahead and check those out. Usually stream every day about 4 p.m. Eastern, so check that out. And yeah, I will see you in just a little bit for round number 1. And we're back for round number 1 of our Modern League with Humans. Won the die roll, pretty fortunate. We have 1 land, but we can't cast any spells, so pretty easy mulligan. This hand is a little suspect because we can't cast Mana Strider or Freebooter. Given the fact that I can't cast either of these, I'm gonna keep, because I do have, turn 1 Noble, I have some 2-drops here. I'm putting back one of the cards I can't cast, and I think in the best case scenario where my Noble Hierarch dies on 1, I'm gonna play Thalion 2, so this freebooter is gonna kind of probably get lost by the wayside, so I'm just gonna put that back. I say in the best case scenario where they kill my Hierarch, that's obviously, I would not want that to happen, but, I'd much rather play the Thalion 2 than freebooter most of the time anyways, especially if my Noble's dying. Ooh, the mirror match. Should have put back Thalia, I guess. Okay, maybe not the mirror match. I'm just going to play Thalia Hierarch. Not that Thalia's going to do that much against Ziggurat birds, but hopefully we find some red mana. I mean, we have a decent beatdown draw. If we draw a land, it's quite good. We get to go Rider and Lieutenant. Push quite a bit of damage. And if we don't, we still get to play Lieutenant and push for 5 damage, potentially. Let's see what's going on over here. Elementals. I don't think I've seen Birds of Paradise in this deck before, which is kind of strange. That's why I wasn't really sure what to make of this, but... Alright, Risen Reef. It's fine. How about another Mantis Rider that I can't cast? Alright, I might as well sack this Canopy, because I can still cast Thalia's Lieutenant off the 2 Hierarchs. And if I find red mana, I might just cast Rider. Alright, did not find red mana, which is annoying. So we'll push for 5 damage. Which I assume... they might block with Harbinger, depends on their hand. They have, like, what's the 2-mana 1/2 that gets an elemental back? Thunderkin Awakener, that's what it is. So they may have that. Or they might just not want to take 5 damage. Also reasonable. Well, we need to find a rainbow land so we can cast our spells. Other good draws, like Lieutenant's a fine draw, Reflector Mage is a fine draw. So they have a decent number of decent draws. Not a ton of bricks. Okay. Yeah. The cool thing about this is they can stack the trigger so that they... Oh, they're choosing not to do that. But what they can do is they can put an elemental on top with the trigger and then let this trigger resolve and just draw it. So that's kind of cool. Spite Bellows. I guess we're just going to copy Lieutenant. Can't really think of a reason not to. Then we can just push a whole bunch of damage. I don't have any elementals in my deck, so there's really no reason to Oh, this thing... I guess I could look for a land that way, but this pushes a lot of damage, so... I thought this was something different. Okay, never mind. I think this is still the right play either way, but... So they're probably going to Spite Bellows... I don't know. This maybe? It might be beneficial for them to kill a Hierarch because I'm missing land drops, but... Even if they kill a Hierarch and I draw a Rainbow land, they should know that I can cast almost any spell. Even if my hand is all, cards that I can't cast. They're Freebooters and Mantis Riders and Kudros. And... So there's probably no point in killing a Hierarch here. I would assume they kill the Thalia. It's just the biggest threat. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Let's see if they have another creature to cast. It's the Awakener. Okay. So I guess they can get Spike Bellows back. And then probably kill a Hierarch then. This is getting out of hand. No point in blocking. I mean, I guess the point is gain 6 life, but... I think I was supposed to lead back a creature to be able to make this a risky attack. If I left back a 2/3, I could have just ate this. Okay. They're at 14. So if I play Mantis Rider... What if I just played Kudrow? Played Kudrow, these would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Would put them to 6. And Kudrow could also exile the Spike Bellows. Yeah, that's got to be good. I get to push more damage, and I get to exile the Spike Bellows. And I still have a 3/3 back to block their Awakener, which is good. Okay. Definitely going to push all this damage. I guess they might just block because they have the Awakener to get it back, but if they attack with the Awakener, then I just get to block it with Kudrow, so that's not even great for them. Let's see if they have another Spite Bellows. That would not be great. White mana. What's white mana? Vesperlark, maybe? Yep. So that gets back the Harbinger, and then the Harbinger can get a Spite Bellows. That's not great for me. So now they can put the Spite Bellows in their hand, evoke it, kill the Kudrow, attack, get back Spite Bellows. I take 8 and go to 3. They kill the Hierarch and have 2 blockers back. It's pretty bad for me. Oh, they revealed Omnath. I guess that one works too, right? That doesn't let them kill 2 things, though. Maybe they only have 1 Spite Bellows in their deck. Because I feel like Spite Bellows is just better for them, you know? So maybe they don't have a second one? Because now they still kind of have to kill the Kudrow, right? Which they were going to do anyways, but... They're putting a counter on the Omnath, sure. They're at 6. Is there any way I can present lethal? Probably not. And they do have 8 lands. What does this do when you have 8 lands? Oh, they get the draw card. 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. Probably not looking great for me. Ooh, they went to 3. Okay. Am I dead? I don't think I'm dead. Did they just kill themselves? They get Harbinger Vesperlark, but... they're at 3, and I don't think they can kill a Noble Hierarch. Not sure why they made that play. They could have just left the bird back. Like, just play a tap lane and leave the bird back. I don't think I can ever win this game if they just do that. Sure. Unless I'm missing something. Okay. It's not lethal, is it? Well, they put 4 counters on this. What if they had put 4 counters on these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would have been 9 damage. Not quite lethal. Yeah, I think they just put themselves dead. Not sure if that was the best line from them, but we take those. Yeah, I think what they were supposed to do is probably just play this tapped and say go. And I don't really see how I get out of that, because, like, if I draw Reflector Mage, sure, I can bounce the bird, but then I can't play Mantis Rider that turn, and the Riders wouldn't even be lethal at that point. They would still be at 5. They could just take a Rider hit and go to 1. And I just can't really beat this board. But, you know, I'm not complaining. Oops. Red, blue, white. Interesting game. A game that I think I probably should have very easily lost, but... Alright, Elementals. Deputy seems good. Engineer seems awesome. Dismember seems good. Skyclave seems good. I could potentially bring in Auriok Champion, just because they have a lot of ETB triggers, but the thing is, like, Auriok Champion is very good against decks that are trying to small ball you with, like, burn spells and stuff like that, but not very good against a deck that's trying to just generate an overwhelming board state. Like, even if you gain, 6 life off an Auriok Champion, it doesn't matter because all their cards are replacing themselves. They're generating value. That's not where Auriok Champion shines. Obviously, Thalia is unplayable. I have to cut 2 more cards. I could just cut Kudros, given that I'm bringing in more 3-drops. Like, I'm bringing in 2 Skyclaves and a Plague Engineer and a Deputy. I don't want my curve to be too high. Although Freebooter is also pretty bad. So maybe I just accept the fact that my curve sucks. I think I'd rather have 1 Auriok Champion than 1 Freebooter or 1 Thalia, so... Like, their deck is just all creatures. Freebooter and Thalia just don't do anything. Opponent keeps 7. I think this hand is kind of suspect. We don't have a 1-drop. We don't have a Vial. Yeah, this hand just is not good enough, I don't think. No, this hand has no lands. Ah, yes, the classic. Ziggurat Vial. I mean, I think on 5 I probably have to keep this and just hope that we get there. I'm going to ship the Vial and the Image and just keep... I guess I could ship Dismember and keep Image. But I'm going to need to draw land to win this game anyways, so I think this is fine. Okay, not a land, but a castable spell, nonetheless. There are worse draws in my deck for sure. All right. Coffee secured. Voice of Resurgence. Okay. Okay. That lets me attack too. That's actually probably better than drawing a land, if I'm being honest. It's like, it's an ETB tap land, but it allows me to attack this turn, so. Let's see if they have the Bellows. The Bellows of Spite. Looks like they do. I assume they're killing Hierarch, right? Yeah, makes sense. I think I'm just going to play Champion this turn. I'm going to let them block. I'm not just going to Dismember the Voice. But I don't plan on casting Dismember on their turn with the Voice in play. I don't want to play Lieutenant here because I get a much better Lieutenant turn next turn with 2 Champions in play. And the question is, do we name Human or Core Spirit? Given that I don't have a 3-drop in hand and the Ziggurat can cast Lieutenant, I think I'm just going to name Spirit. Because I think it's more important to be able to cast this than, like, a situation where I have to draw a Mantis Rider and a land, you know? So, Whereas I already have the Skyclave in my hand. It's an Omnath. This feels like an Omnath, given that they're fetching main phase. No. Lightning Skelemental. Okay, well, I changed my mind. I am going to dismember that. Sure, that's fine. They do get a voice token, but... which is going to be a 3/3. It's mildly annoying, but I don't really think I can afford to just discard 2 cards. Maybe I'm supposed to do that there. So now I can play Lieutenant and attack for 5. They can trade both of these for it, which I think is okay. I think that is okay with me, if they want to trade both of these for the 5/5. Because then I still have a 3/3 left over. They have a voice token, but I'm not going to offer a trade of just even 3/3s, but that I think is a bad trade. This I think is okay for me. Because they're going to have a voice token no matter what, but this just kind of gets more material off of their board. And now they have Omnath. It's fine, we have Skyclave. As long as they don't have a fetch land. And they have a fetch land. It's bad. Unless they don't have anything to cast. And then it's okay. Okay. Well, they're not casting anything this turn. So now hopefully we draw land. Problem is, even if we draw land to kill the Omnath, we still can't really attack with Skyclave. Because it's just an even trade. They'll have a 3/3 and we'll have a 3/3. So this game is slipping out of reach. How about a Phantasmal Image? I can copy Omnath. I mean, if I copy Lieutenant, this is a 5/5. Let's just take it. It's not even good. Not that Image on Omnath is particularly great either, but... alright. Yeah, this game is out of reach at this point. Go ahead and pack it up. Missed our land drop for too many turns. Alright, game 3. Do I want to change anything? I don't think I do. Yeah, this is good. See if we can do a little bit better on the play here. This hand is good. It's a beatdown hand, which I don't know is where I necessarily want to be in this matchup, but hand's okay. Always lead on Hierarch in case you draw a 3-drop, because, again, given how many 3-drops are in our deck, I always want to lead on Hierarch, and even if I brick, I can still go Champion Lieutenant next turn, which is fine. They have a Flamekin Harbinger. I would like to draw a Plague Engineer. Not quite. Alright, I'm just going to use my mana as efficiently as possible and just play Lieutenant Champion. I'm going to play Island so that I can potentially name a different creature type with this Cavern. If that comes up, they're going to Shriekmaw the Champion, which is fine. We can just go Champion Lieutenant again next turn. Can start getting some good pressure on here. They did get Shriekmaw, right? Yeah. Which I imagine is what they're casting here. Yeah, looks like they are. Yep, killing Champion, makes sense. They probably could attack here because they're probably not going to be blocking, but... Skyclave Apparition. Alright, let's play Champion Lieutenant. And then let's attack for 5. And I think I'm just going to play the Cavern on Spirit in case they have Lightning Skelemental. Yeah, because I don't want to, you know, I have 2 cards in my hand. If they have if they play Skelemental, they're probably just too far behind at that point. There's a chance I was supposed to name Human and get in 2 more points of damage, but then I can't cast the Skyclave, which, I don't know, it's tough. Maybe that was better, though. Now they Spite Bellows, kill this. And now I can Skyclave that and get in for 4, which is not ideal. That's a good draw. Now I'm going to do that. That pushes a lot of damage. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 puts them to 3. Yeah, they're just too far behind at that point. They have nothing in play. They're at 3. Even if they, like, play a Spite Bellows, they have to evoke it to kill a creature. So, yeah, I mean, on the play, double Champion, double Lieutenant, pretty good. Yeah, just a classic Humans beatdown hand. So, hope you enjoyed that match, and I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 2. And we're back for round number 2, Modern League with Humans. Won the die roll again. We have Champion into Thalia on the play. Hand's fine, nothing special, but definitely not a mulligan. We get to go Champion into Thalia. Hopefully we find something good to do with this image. We'll see what we're up against. Maybe they'll give us a good target. It's a nice thing about this hand. Kind of covers both bases, right? Like, if they're playing a deck where Thalia's good, then we have Thalia. Or if they're playing a creature deck, we have potentially Image for one of their good creatures. Going back to this, I'm just going to play Thalia. Thalia is very good against Infects. Makes all their spells cost a lot more mana than what they're probably anticipating, so... And if they attack, I'm going to block. Because I have a second Thalia anyways, I will happily trade a Pump Spell for a Thalia. Like, they're going to spend their entire turn casting a Pump Spell, I'm just going to play a second Thalia. Well, they're having Mutagenic Growth makes that a little bit less of a good exchange, but I think it's still fine. Now I can just Champion Thalia. Champion Thalia get in for 4. And we potentially just block both of their creatures. Let's see what they do. They're also kind of low already. They're at 10, and we're pushing a lot of damage, so... See what they do. That will certainly influence our decisions. There's a chance I just take all of this. Because they can't really kill us, right? The best they can do is cast a Mutagenic Growth. Yeah, which is... blue mana. What is blue mana? Distortion Strike costs 2 mana. So it feels like they might have that card in their hand. Because they tapped the blue mana and went to put a spell in the stack, but maybe they didn't remember the Thalia. Thalia's putting them in a very awkward predicament. Alright, well, we can't block that, so I'll take 1. That is fine. I guess we can crack Canopy first to see if we find a Lieutenant. Kind of no reason not to. So now I can just copy a Champion, probably? And again, the only card they can actually cast is Mutagenic Growth. So let's do some quick maths here. We attack with everything. They block Thalia, Mutagenic Growth, which puts them to 7. So they also have to chump block this, right? So it's 10, 9, 8, 7. So they'd be at 7. They block Thalia, block this, go to 4. And then the Thalia dies, and I have 1 blocker left. Alright, maybe that's not actually good. Yeah, just because if they have mutagenic growth, untap, animate, it's just very risky. I don't think there's a reason to take that risk. Like, the best they can do is, what, chump here, go to 7? They're still in a really bad spot. Just because in order for them to kill me, they just have to cast so many spells. They can't kill me this turn. The best they can do is cast 1 plus 4, or a scale up, which is only 6, which puts me to 7. So. And if they cast scale up, they end up at 5, which they'd be dead on board, right? They just block here and take 6. So now the best they can do is get a Dryad Arbor and double chump block. Could even name Mutagenic Growth if I wanted to. I'm going to cast this Meddling Mage and see what they do. Should have played Cavern, but... Alright, they do not want to play anymore. Makes sense. I was probably going to name Mutagenic Growth, but... Alright, Dismember is great, Engineer is great, Skyclave is great. There is some consideration to bring in Magus of the Moon. Like, these are options as well. This is definitely not a Kudro matchup. I also don't really think this is an Image matchup. So this is 60. See if there's anything I want to change. I could potentially trim on Mantis Rider, because I think this matchup is less about beatdown, more about, you know, constricting their resources with Thalia, Freebooter, Meddling Mage. I think on the draw, I don't want Magus. I might want it on the play, but I'm just going to see how this goes. I like this setup. So there's two... Image is kind of awkward in this matchup, because it is decent in the fact that you get to copy their infect creature, and when you trade any amount of pump spells, it doesn't matter because the creature still dies. Because of the way that infect works, they put counters on them. Even if they, you know, pump spell their creature, it would still end up dying at the next turn. But the other issue with Image is it's also not great against pump spells, because they can just cast a pump spell on your Image to kill it. So this hand is a bit risky on the draw, but I think I have to keep it. I have land, multiple vials, bunch of interaction, and by bunch of interaction I mean not that much, but... So here I'm debating whether to play Hierarch or Vial first. If I play Vial and don't draw land, it might get kind of dicey, because I don't get to play Freebooter on turn 2. If I play Hierarch, and then I don't draw land, then I play Freebooter, and then I'm just stuck with these 2 Vials in hand. I don't think I can really afford to do that. I think I just have to hope that they don't have the nuts. Just given the way that my hand is composed, I don't really think I can afford to not play Vial here, and just hope to draw land. Alright, well, let's see if we're dead, I guess. I'm going to play second Vial. Yeah, I think I'm going to play second Vial. And hope I'm not dead. I probably am, but... So I could have potentially prevented this if I had played Hierarch on 1, but it's unclear. Oh, I'm not dead. That's good. Pretty close to dead, but... I'll put a Hierarch into play. Tick both of these up. Okay. So let's put Champion in. And let's put... I think I have to put Freebooter in now, because if I wait till their turn to respond, like to put Freebooter in, they can respond and cast Vines on this. So I want a Freebooter first. Dismember, Distortion Strike, Vines of Vastwood. Which doesn't quite kill me. Because I can take Dismember and name Vines with Meddling Mage. They get to Distortion Strike this, which is 2, but it's only 3. They either attack with both of these or exalt the trigger, so that puts me to 9 poison. Now, granted, I don't know if I have an out after that, but it's my only line, really. So we'll take Dismember, name Vines, pass, and then we're dead to any pump spell. That is a pump spell. Alright, game 3. Game's a lot different on the play. Again, I think a lot of this matchup just comes down to the die roll. We kind of just got steamrolled when we were on the draw, but I think if you take that hand and put us on the play, I think we win that game, 100 times out of 100, almost certainly. Just being on the draw, Who knew? Being on the play is great. More so in this format, in this iteration of Modern after the bans, and I've really noticed that, play draw, when you had Uro and Red and 6 and all these card advantage engines in your deck, play draw didn't matter as much because you had so many ways to recoup card advantage. But now that the format is slanted way more towards aggressive decks, I found that play draw is very, very more important than it's ever been. This hand's great. I keep. Opponent mulls to 6, mulls to 5. Alright, Ziggurat, Noble. Go from there. If they play a 1-drop, I'm probably just going to Reflector Mage it. White, blue, this. Reflector Mage your creature. Next turn we can champion Reflector Mage. Or champion Lieutenant, that works too. I guess I should do this. Actually, there's no point in attacking with this, right? It's just 1 damage either way. So I go to 14. Is this a little dicey? They just, pump the Nexus. We go to 6 poison. We have to kill them next turn, basically. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, well. Awkward. Yeah, I think we probably would have lost that game, right? Because we only had 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage that turn. Put them to 3, and then they probably just have another pump spell. Yeah, pretty awkward way to end the match. I don't really know what to say. It depends on their hand, obviously, but pretty sure we were losing that game. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. At least the rest of the games were enjoyable. You get to see kind of how the play draw matters so much in this matchup, and yeah, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in just a little bit for round number 3. And we are back. Round number 3. Perfect hand. Just kidding. Obviously, we're going to take a mulligan. We're on the draw. Not sure what our opponent's playing. Not much to say about this hand. 6 lands, Vial. Not going to cut it. How about no lands, Vial? Also not going to cut it. Alright, I will keep this. What 5 cards do I want to keep? I wonder if I'm just supposed to ship 2 lands. Being on the draw with the Vial. If I ship 2 lands and they have a discard spell for the Vial, it's really awkward. But if I ship 2 spells, the Vial's also a lot worse, right? If I ship land spell, let's say I ship land Rider. They Thoughtseize me, take Thalia. I just have 2 lands, a Vial, and a champion. That's also not great for me. So I think I'm just gonna try and get a little lucky here. Chancellor of the Tangle. Well, that can't be good for me. Opponent kept 7 cards with the Chancellor. That means I'm probably dead. Talisman of Resilience. Alright, well. Guess I wish I had kept 2 lands. I mean, Dahlia's pretty good, but not going to be good without casting it, obviously. So they're probably oops all spells. Alright, kind of need to find a land here. Unfortunate. The good news is, I think this matchup is decent, because I'm pretty sure Meddling Mage just kind of KOs them. So they're playing Informer, which is interesting, because they need to be able to cast 2 creature spells to get Vengevines back. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Just gonna play my cards. Not really much else I can do. They're never blocking here. I don't think they're blocking. Yeah, not with an active vial. It's just a free 2 points. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do here, because, again, they can't really get Vengevines back without casting 2 creatures. I guess maybe they have a Narcomoeba in their hand? Well, now they know that they got bluffed. But again, I want to see... Okay, so they're just not doing the thing. I'm confused. We'll tick both of these up. Have a 3 and a 2. I guess I just Reflector Mage that? This puts them to 6, and now they can't play the Informer. I guess they could now play Balustrade Spy. Maybe that was their plan? Just try and draw a mana source for Balustrade Spy? I guess that was their plan, huh? Maybe that's why they decided to run out the Informer, because they probably just had Spy in their hand. Interesting game. I think Skyclave is decent, because you can tag their mana. Same reason I think Deputy is decent. Okay, playing Engineer technically stops Narcomoeba. Trying to think. I'm not a big Reflector Mage fan because, again, most of the time they're casting their creature and activating it in the same turn, so Reflector Mage doesn't really have a lot of utility there. And at least the Skyclaves and the Deputies can take out their mana, potentially. Excuse me. So our other options include these, I guess? I'm trying to think if Gaddock Teague does anything against them. Trying to think of what the composition of their deck. It's like mana creatures. So what they're trying to do is mill over their entire deck because they don't play any actual lands. All of their lands are the double face cards. So they flip their entire deck. They hit some Narcomoebas, Sword of the Meeks, get all that stuff back, get Salvage Titan back from their graveyard, and then cast Salvage Titan to get back Vengevines. But Teague doesn't really stop any of that stuff. I do have to have one more card. I'm trying to think if Engineer actually stops them. It stops Sword coming back because Narcomoeba is a 0/0, so it doesn't actually trigger the Sword. So I guess it's probably good enough. It probably means they can't combo off. Opponent mulliganed. This hand is... I don't think it's very good. We get to go turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Freebooter. The problem is we're on the draw, so we can't even tag a Mana Rock, because they can just go land, Mana Rock. And their combo pieces are creatures, so we can't actually Freebooter their combo pieces. So I think when we're on the draw, we have to mulligan a hand like this. I think this hand just has too many mana sources. If you count Vial as a mana source, it's essentially 6 mana sources on a freebooter. I don't think that's good enough. Alright, this is a little bit better. This hand doesn't have any disruption, but I think I'm going to keep this and put back one of the Ziggurats. And I think I'm going to plan on... So the cool thing about this hand is we can instant speed a creature with a Kudro in play to tag like a Narcomoeba or a Vengevine or something like that. So how do we plan for that? So if we go turn 1 Vial, turn 2 we tick up to 1, put in Noble, keeping the champion, leave Vial at 1, play Kudro on turn 3, and have an instant speed Vial activation with the Kudro in play. So I think I'm going to play towards that. Just playing Vial on 1. I think that is what I want to play towards. Now, granted, we might not have that much time, because it looks like they're probably going to just kill us on turn 3, but, you know, we tried. We draw a Meddling Mage. That might do something. I doubt Freebooter or Thalia will do anything, so it kind of just has to be Meddling Mage. We drew a Thalia. So now I guess I can go Champion Thalia, and then next turn do the same thing. Leave the Vial at 1, play Kudro, leave up Instant Speed Vial. Just hope that's good enough, I guess. I don't think it's going to be, but, you know. This is where we are. Because from my understanding, I don't believe that their combo requires them to cast any non-creature spells. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. I would have to imagine that I'm probably dead. But I'm going to let them do their thing and kind of just make sure that they can execute their combo. It's a dark day when the Thalia doesn't stop the combo deck. So they do have Narcomoebas, 2 Creeping Chills. I assume I'm dead. And they did reveal Nexus, yeah. So this is the last card in their deck right now. But it does seem like Plague Engineer... Yeah, Plague Engineer just stops their deck entirely because they don't get to put Narcomoebas into play, which means the swords never come back because the swords don't trigger because Narcomoebas are 0/0s instead of 1/1s. So the swords never trigger, which means they don't have enough stuff to get back the Salvage Titan. What just happened? I'm confused. So they returned Salvage Titan but didn't cast it? I'm very, very confused. I mean... And now I can just... Well, I don't actually think I have to exile Vengevines. Because I don't think they can actually get Vengevines back. So I think maybe I should just exile Phantasmagorian. So that way they can't discard the Nexus of Fate. I guess if they have a creature in their hand... Oh, actually, no. Because let me read Phantasmagorian again. They have to discard 3 cards. They only have 1 card in their hand. Oh, they have 4. Never mind. I was looking at their library. Alright, so let's exile Phantasmagorian, and then we can just pass with the Vial on 1. So they can get back the Phantasmagorian now, but that's fine, as long as they don't have it in their hand when they draw the Nexus of Fate, is the only thing that matters. But now I can just pass. They have to somehow put 2 creatures on the... Yeah, I think they maybe messed up. Show chat and see if they said anything. They didn't say anything, so I don't know if that was intentional or what happened there. But I'm fairly certain they could have just cast Salvage Titan there. I'm not going to attack with the champion because they have a 4/7 anyways. No point. Okay. So they're going to cast the Salvage Titan now? Yeah, I'm very confused as to why they just didn't do this last turn. And I can actually exile one Vengevine with the Kudrow. And I could just block 2 of them freely, potentially chump a 3rd, and take 7 damage. Let's exile a Vengevine. Yeah, so they have 3 Vengevines, and these 3. That's 6 attackers. I block 3. I take 2, 4, 5, 9, go to 5, and then they deck because they don't have any cards in their deck. Sounds good to me. Alright, so free block, jump block. Take 2, 4, 5. Alright, I'm down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they messed up last turn. Kind of a weird league so far. Our last opponent forgot to attack. This opponent forgot to cast Salvage Titan. Very, very, very odd league so far. Yeah, I mean, 3-0, kind of with an asterisk, but hope you enjoyed the content so far, and I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 4. We are back for round number 4. Currently 3-0 in this Modern League with Humans. The new Modern format, if you will. This hand's great. I'm going to keep it. Turn 1 Vial. Not much else you can ask for. Turn 1 Vial. Turn 2 Violin Champion and play Thalia. Pretty good life over here. Let's see what our opponent is up to. Hopefully it's a deck that Thalia's good against. Alright, so I'm going to make a bit of a strange play here. Obviously, in these spots, normally you want to Violin the Champion and then play the Thalia. The problem is, if I Violin Champion and play Thalia, they can bolt my Champion. I don't want that to happen. So, I'm going to give up a counter on the Champion by just playing Thalia first. I know it looks weird, but I don't want my opponent to use their mana if they have Bolt. I think that's pretty important. Huge tempo play. And they had a tap land, so now they can't bolt anyways. I may end up just naming Anger with this Meddling Mage. Yeah, I think that's kind of the only card I care about. I'm just like, if they have Lightning Bolt, it's only a 1-for-1. I don't think it's that bad for me. I'm going to kill them long before they can cast Scape Shifts. So, I think this is right. This is 7 damage, they go to 12. And the next turn we have... Yeah, we have 13 next turn, right? 7, 10, 13. I guess they can't cast Anger of the Gods next turn anyways. So maybe I'm supposed to name Bolt. Yeah, maybe that was better. Because even if they play land 3, we have Thalia in place, so they can't cast Anger either way. So maybe I was supposed to name Bolt. Maybe that was better. Not sure. Not sure what's going on over there. Yeah, probably was supposed to name Bolt there. Bit of a mishap, but... Alright, so Scape Shifts. We would like to bring in Magus, Gaddock Teague, and I think Skyclave is not great. And probably Reflector Mage? I don't know, they might have Dryad. Reflector Mage might be good against Dryad. Could also cut Image, potentially. I want Gaddock Teague for Scape Shifts. I want Magus, obviously. I Can also have Dismember. These are cards that are really only good against Dryad. Excuse me, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I guess Deputy also kills Primeval Titan, but... Maybe I just, like, Trim? Maybe shave a Kudro, too, because Kudro's not great against Anger. How does that look? Let's roll with this. I think this is Gucci. I want to make sure I have some ways to bounce Dryad, but I don't want to go all in on ways to kill Dryad. Like, given that I have bringing in Magus, I do think it is worth it to have some ways to kill Dryad. But, again, I don't want to load up on those. Again, like, Reflector Mage in my opening hand, not the greatest. I'm going to take a mulligan. This hand is pretty good. Am I shipping Hierarch or Reflector Mage? I think I'm going to ship Hierarch. And if they kill my Hierarch, that's fine. I can just play Thalion too. Alright, so we'll go Human. Play Hierarch on 1. Looks like they probably have a Bolt. And they don't. Okay. They have Ren and 6. It's not great. Now I can't play Thalia. I did not think that the Scapeshift decks usually play this card. It doesn't seem particularly great in their deck, but... I'm going to play Canopy. And I'm going to Meddling Mage Lightning Bolt, I think. Yeah, Ren and 6 is kind of strange in their deck. Arseek is fine. I'd like to find a Lieutenant so I can kill this Ren. This is kind of awkward. I'm trying to think here. So I can go Champion Thalia, attack Ren to 1. Then they ping the Thalia. If they have Anger, that's kind of bad. What else am I doing? Could Champion. Attack Ren, kind of the same thing. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to Champion Thalia. Attack Ren. Just don't really have any better options, unfortunately. Like, I understand they're going to get to kill the Thalia with Ren, but just don't really know what else I'm supposed to do. Probably have an Anger. Yeah. Just like, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. Probably can't win this game now. I'm still very interested why they're playing Red and 6 in their deck. I don't think it's particularly great. Alright. We'll go to the next game. Let's see. Anything different I want to do on the play? I think because they have Ren, I'm probably not a huge Phantasmal Image fan. And maybe I want some Skyclaves back in just to kill Ren? Or Deputy, maybe. Deputy kills more things, because it also tags Primeval Titan. That's the problem with Skyclave. It doesn't tag Primeval Titan. I could have a third Reflector Mage. I could have a second Kudro. I think on the play... Yeah, I still don't like Kudro against Anger. We'll just have a third Reflector Mage for Dryad. If this was a Rainbow land, I'd probably keep this, but I don't think I can, unfortunately. Alright, this hand is good. I'm going to put back Reflector Mage. We can go... potentially Meddling Mage on Search for tomorrow. Let's see what we draw, though. I could wait a turn on the Meddling Mage. Problem is, if I name Search, they just bolt the Mage anyways. I think... I play Mage, name Bolt. I don't get to play the second file. But that's fine, because if I draw a land, I can go Rider Lieutenant anyways. I'm also trying to think if there's a scenario where I just play Vial, and then try and... I can't really get this Meddling Mage out of Lightning Bolt range. Alright, I'm just going to cast Meddling Mage and name Lightning Bolt. And if they have Anger, if I find a land and they have Anger, I can go Rider Lieutenant to get Rider out of Anger range. So, I think if I find a land, I'm in pretty good shape. Did not find a land. Alright, just gonna cast Vial. Attack for 2. I don't want to put the Lieutenant into play, because it just kind of gives them a better Anger. I do miss 1 damage. Try to get the damage matters. So it'd be 3, the next turn... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's a 2-turn clock either way, right? Yeah, it's a 2-turn clock either way, so I don't think the 1 damage matters. Well, 2 turns after this. Excuse me. Guess I should have named Search, although they could also just have bolts in their hands, so... Let's see what they have. Ren and 6. Sure. Alright, put a Lieutenant into play. 3 and 1. So I can cast a Mantis Rider. Which is not great if they have Anger of the Gods. I don't really care about this Wren, so I don't think I'm supposed to Deputy the Wren. Mantis Rider, they go to 6. And then I can just hold up the Vial on 3. But they still get to Primeval Titan... Yeah, I don't really think I have a better line. Red, blue, white. I'm just ignoring the Ren and 6. I don't think the Ren matters at all. Because they already got the land off of it. So they can cast Primeval Titan either way. Yep, that's fine. Now I guess I may have to Deputy the Wren. I don't love it, but... Yep, that's fine. And they have 5 cards. Which means they probably don't have Primeval Titan, because I assume they would have cast it. They could have Scape Shift, though. But we know they have a Foothills in their hand. I think I'm still going to put the Deputy into play. Alright, I'm going to leave... This one's going to go up to 2. Right, it's this one. Up to 2. This one stays at 3. Let's sack this. Did not find anything. Attack for 2. They might have a bolt. Green, red. Fire Prophecy. Not quite sure why that card's in their deck, but interesting addition. Some strange card choices from our opponent. I think we're going to lose this game anyways, but very, very strange card choices. Okay. That resolves. I'll tell you, I did not expect Fire Prophecy and Trident's Magnify in my opponent's red-green Scapeshift deck. I'll tell you that much. I don't think anybody would. That maybe gives me a chance. I think I'm just going to pass. It's awkward because... when is the best time to do this? Probably when they go to fetch. I kind of have to do it when they attack with the Titan. I can't let the Valak triggers go on the stack. So I'm going to let them attack with Titan. And then in response to the trigger, then I'll Violin the Magus. Just kind of hope they don't have a bolt. I think they have a bolt, though. Well, looks like they don't have a bolt. That's good. Step 1. I will take 6. They have an anger. Okay, they messed that up because they could have just cast that before. Yeah, they definitely messed that up because they could have just cast that before the Titan trigger resolved and then triggered Valakits. So they messed up a little bit there, but our draw was pretty bad anyway, so it did better. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the games. I'll see you back just a little bit for round number 5. And we are back for the 5th and final round of our Modern League with Humans. We're 3-1, trying to see if we can snipe that 4-1. I'm not going to do it with this hand, though. Definitely going to take a mulligan. I think this hand is also really bad. Alright, this hand at least has spells we can cast. I think I'm going to keep 2 lands, Thalia Freebooter Mage. So I'm going to put back Freebooter Canopy. Hope that's good enough. But most of 4, so they're probably Tron, if I had to guess. Maybe I was supposed to put back the Reflector Mage, assuming that they're Tron. Yeah, Reflector Mage is probably not great against the mold of 4, because most of the time they're some sort of combo deck. Okay, maybe not. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. It's a good draw. Their taxes, I'm pretty sure this matchup is incredibly favorable for us. They have 1 card left. I think I'm just going to play Freebooter, given that I don't really envision this Thalia doing anything, and I could potentially start attacking with Freebooter. Alright, I don't have any cards. That's fine. I'll pass. I will take 2, that's fine. Them attacking means they probably drew a spell, because they don't really want to trade damage, or not. That works too. Alright, human. Reflector Mage, the Giver of Runes. Attack for 4. Maybe they drew Path? Nope. Okay, they just wanted the trade. I mean, I guess they maybe assumed that I was going to have a Reflector Mage, but I don't know. Even if I have Reflector Mage, they can still just protect this and then block, so... But yeah, they were kind of off it at that point. Didn't have... They mulliganed to 4, so... Alright, 2 Dismembers, 2 Skyclaves, Plague Engineer... Deputy, I think, is pretty good. Dahlia is horrible. I'm also not a big fan of Image, I think. Freebooter's also not great, but they usually have Stoneforge Mystic, and I think Freebooter's decent against Stoneforge. I think I'm going to go down a Kudro, and I want 2 Images. The nice thing about Images, we both have Skyclave, and Skyclave is such a beating in this matchup that just having more copies of Skyclave, I think, is pretty good. So I think I'm going to try 2 Images, see how this goes. Turn 1 Vial. I will keep... Even though the rest of this hand is not ideal, I think it's still good enough. Put it most to 6. Alright, so we both have Vial. Mage, not the best against a Vial start. It's still named Path, which is probably what I'm going to name most of the time anyways, so it's not that bad. Okay, that probably doesn't matter. I'm going to say, drawing a 1-drop would be nice there. I'm going to play Mage and just name Path. Again, there's really no point in naming a creature because they have Aether Vial, so just name the one non-creature card that they almost certainly have 4 of. And hopefully we can just kind of go to town with some Mantis Riders. And the nice thing is they can't Field of Ruin me and Skyclave the Vial. Like, if they have land, they have to play Skyclave, and I can't get Field of Ruin, which means I'm going to have a turn to play the Rider. Alright, let's just go Human... Play Mantis Rider. And Violent Lieutenant. No point in attacking with the Mage, they just go block pro white, so. Just 4. 4 is good. Next turn we can do the same thing. Rider Lieutenant. Maybe they have another Arbiter. That doesn't really matter that much. Now if they have Skyclave, they kind of have to tag the Rider, not the Vial. Okay, they're just casting Skyclave, which is strange. Not sure why they wouldn't just Vial it in. Maybe they have Flicker Wisp? They do. Okay. So they're going to Flicker the Skyclave. That's pretty good for them. Now they even have Giver Up for the Flicker Wisp. It's not great. Not great. Alright. Mantis Rider. Bass. Not gonna... We can't attack, obviously, because they have Giver. We need to find an answer for this Giver, then we can start attacking. But maybe they don't have anything left. They only have 1 card. They get to blow up a land, not like that's even remotely relevant. Yeah, we need to find, like, our own Skyclave, a Reflector Mage, a Dismember, a Plague Engineer. Those are all good draws. Archon of Emire, that doesn't really matter. Sure. Alright, Skyclave acquired. Just gonna kill their Giver now. They're gonna give something. Oh, they didn't give anything pro-white. I mean, I'm not attacking anyways because I don't want to trade for the Flicker Wisp. So I'll just pass. Okay, Vile's fine. So I think what I want to do this turn is play Mantis Rider, and then next turn I can play Lieutenant, and they're both 4/4s, which means they don't have any good blocks. Because if they double block, then I just kill both of their things. So I think I'm just going to take a turn off and not attack here. I guess I could probably offer this as a trade, right? Well, then they just block with these two. I kill this, get a 1/1, which doesn't matter. Yeah, that's not even great for me. I'll just pass. I'll have good attacks next turn with the other Lieutenant. Alright, Noble Hierarch, which I can't cast because of the Archon of Emeria, but that's fine. Still get some really good attacks in with this Lieutenant. I think I'm probably just going to attack with this, too. The 5/5 and 2 4/4s. Yeah, they just don't really have any good blocks. They could have a Skyclave here. Skyclave, probably kill a Rider, and then, what, triple block the Lieutenant? They can't cast Path because of the Mage, so that's good. Now, if they don't have Skyclave, they're in real rough shape. The best they can do is double block a Mantis Rider and trade both of their things and take 9. I guess they can chump and take 8. Yeah, this is also fine with me. Yeah, so they just don't really have anything. And next turn I could probably just shove. Maybe not with the Meddling Mage, because I still don't want them to cast Path, but... Alright, they have a 2-drop, which is Stoneforge Mystic. So they can get Maul of the Skyclaves and Maul one of these two. It's not bad. I assume they're getting Maul here. I don't really think Batterskull's getting them out of this. Yep, they're probably going to Maul the Skyclave? Maybe the Archon, not sure. It's kind of the same thing. Excuse me. Alright, so what are we looking to draw? Reflector Mage, Skyclave Apparition, Dismember. Plague Engineer's probably fine. A lot of good draws. Another Lieutenant is probably good. Especially now they did that, because now they don't have 2 flying blockers. If we draw another Lieutenant, they just kind of get browned. Alright, it comes into play tapped. Well, this is fine, because now I can just attack with 1 Noble. Or 1 Mantis Rider. It's kind of why I was surprised they didn't split it. That's why I thought they were going to maul the Skyclave, so then they could just double block if this happened, you know? Because now they just didn't have any good blocks. But at least if they put it on the Apparition, they could double block. Then I guess I kill the Archon. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's better for them, though. Against a Noble or a Lieutenant or a Kudra. I just had so many ways to pump my Rider +1 that I think it was better for them if they had put it on the Apparition. I mean, now they can Ghost Quarter the Clearing, but because they have the Archon in play, I don't really think there was... Oh, they're choosing not to Ghost Quarter, which is good for me. Alright, that's a decent draw. We'll see if we can get something better, though. They have 2 cards. That's got to be good enough, right? This could go pretty poorly for me if they have something. What if they have Flicker Wisp? They can flicker one of the 4/4s, eat this, trade this. It's not great for me. I guess in that case I should probably attack with this too, so that if they have Flicker Wisp, they flicker this, this blocks here, Flicker trades for this, then they have to, what, double this, and I get to kill the Skyclave? Oh, I did not play around that, because now they can Batterskull block here. I did not play around that. Well, this is still lethal, unless they have another thing, right? Because they block a 4/4, block here, go to 7, still take 7. So they still need something else. This by itself is not good enough. Alright, so they still died. I think I did not consider Batterskull in my assessment, because obviously I could have just attacked with the Riders, but I feel like if they have Flicker Wisp, attacking with just the Riders is worse, because it doesn't force a trade on this. Whereas, because I attack with the Lieutenant, if they didn't have Batterskull, if they had Flicker Wisp, they go Flicker here, this eats one of the Riders, the Flicker Wisp trades with the 3/3 Rider, and then there's still 2 lethal creatures. Or there's still 1 lethal creature, right? So they flicker this, block here, and the Lieutenant's still lethal, so they have to double the Lieutenant, in which case I get to kill this and get another body. So, but yeah, just kind of give him some thoughts on why I did that. But so yeah, 4-1, not bad. Deck felt pretty good, and I think Humans is in a great spot. So if you want to give it a shot, if you're a big fan of the Human archetype, definitely would recommend it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.